Hi, everyone. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here today and really appreciate Urbana's support for everything that we've been doing. And for those of you that are Urbana shareholders, certainly appreciate your support as well. I believe that the reason that we were scheduled was both to put the two ag presentations back to back, but also to allow me to be the ultimate presentation instead of the penultimate presentation between you and cocktails. So I will try to make sure this is high energy and exciting and that everybody's able to get to that cocktail piece. So I will explain this in a minute. For the moment, just look at this, be puzzled about it. But to begin with, I just wanted to comment on the problem that we're trying to solve. So growers today, farmers, need to be able to do more with less. They are running into more and more challenges with invasive pest species, diseases that will wipe out their yields, weed issues that are resistant to traditional herbicides. They're running into challenges associated with rapidly changing climate, and they're running into issues associated with the fact that as consumers, we're asking more from them. We're asking them to be able to produce their food in a more sustainable way in order to meet the goals that we're determining from a societal perspective. And we're doing all of that in a scenario where farmers' balance sheets are stressed and their profitability can be quite challenged. Some of the run-up of commodity prices over the last couple of years has recovered that, but 2 years ago there was a record number of farm bankruptcies in the US. So farmers need to be able to do more with less, and that really shows up in the context of their inputs. Their fertilizers, their pesticides that they buy, they need those products to be able to be more effective to improve their productivity, improve their profitability, and improve their sustainability. And that's true for fertilizers, it's true for their pesticides, and it's true for their seed. And that's what we do at Vive. We take pesticides and we make them more effective, more profitable and productive for growers while also improving their sustainability. And we do that with both traditional synthetic pesticides that they've been using for years, as well as new bio-based solutions, which is a segment that the market's really moving into. I do have a forward-looking statement. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the industry today. So today, 95% of the products that growers buy in terms of their pesticides are based on synthetic chemistry. So they're based on technology that they've used for a very long time. But I mentioned they need innovation there. They need these products to be able to be used in a way that makes them just as effective, but allows growers to apply less of them. They also need new tools to deal with these invasive pest species that I referred to earlier. Well, where's that innovation going to come from? Where are these new tools going to come from? Well, if you look at how much time and money it takes to develop a brand new chemistry, a brand new chemical active ingredient, the most recent industry figures say that it takes about 13 years and $300 million to bring a new active ingredient to market. So that's unsustainable. And then these bio-based solutions that I was referring to earlier have a bit of a reputation from growers of being inconsistent. They don't perform all the time. They don't perform well. They're sometimes viewed as snake oil, to be honest. And so the question is, how are growers going to be able to do more with less? How are they going to be able to take their existing inputs and have those products be more effective? Well, that's where we fit in. We have a technology, I'll talk about it a little bit in a minute, that allows us to take the existing products that a grower will already buy, that they already trust, and they know work on their farm, and help those products be used in a more effective way. That can reduce the amount of the chemistry, the chemical that they're using, by up to 98%, depending on what we're comparing against, and it can dramatically improve their profitability. Growers in their first year of use of these products are typically seeing anywhere between a 3 and a 20 times ROI using our products. So that's great, and that allows us to have a massive impact on that 95% of the market today that's driven by existing chemical-based technologies. But the industry is changing, and there's a ton of innovation happening on biological products. So these would be using a bacteria or a DNA-derived system or an enzyme to help a crop be able to be grown in a more productive way. There's a lot of interest in this, a lot of research going into these areas. But the challenge with most of these materials is that because they're bio-based, keeping them alive and stable long enough for them to be effective on the farm is extremely challenging. they also tend to be extremely expensive. So one thing that we've done is we've used our technology that helps optimize the performance of both synthetic and bio-based products and combine them into a single jug. So now we can go to a grower and say, you're already used to using this product from Vive. It's a product you already know and trust. You're excited about it. It's made you money every year. Now it's combined with this bio-based product, which gives you additional upside when you're applying this product on your farm. And we really believe that that can unlock the adoption of a number of these bio-based solutions in ways that you couldn't do using other types of technology. And we launched our first product based on this concept last year, sold out in our first year, did 8x our second year of sales, and we're really excited about a number of the field results that we have from researchers and growers that are testing this product this year. But ultimately, there's so much innovation happening on these bio-based solutions that there is need for solo biological products, solo bacteria, solo DNA-based systems that can help drive value on the farm, help a grower produce a crop with higher yields, with less pest pressure, with less disease, something that is higher in terms of productivity. But again, the real challenge there from a technology perspective is keeping any of those materials alive and stable so that they actually work on the farm. They're not just broken down before they can really be used. And we have technology that addresses that as well. So one of the really unique attributes of Vive that we're really excited about is we have a massive impact on grower profitability, both today on the 95% of the market, the 95% of inputs that they already use today, as the industry transitions to more bio-based systems, and then as the industry becomes more and more bio-based, we have technology that really unlocks the full potential in this industry. So, quick highlights on Vive. I noted already we're a platform technology. We really are unique in that we optimize the performance of both these synthetic and bio-based inputs and help basically make proprietary products for growers. We're not a discovery company, so we're not going out there and researching new chemistry or researching new microbes, digging up microbes from the soil and testing which ones are the best. We let other people do that. We let other people take on the time and cost that it takes to find the next big thing. We make that next big thing better. And so that's something that we're really excited about and allows us to launch products and commercialize new products at a much higher rate than anyone else. We've been growing extremely rapidly, so we've been on the Globe and Mail fastest growing companies in Canada list each of the last 3 years. Our revenue at year end, at the end of September, was just over $18 million US. We have robust gross margins, and we have the ability to pivot to profitability as needed. We had a pretty narrow EBITDA loss this year, and setting aside some of the investments we're making in the future of the business next year, we're forecasting a strong, profitable year. We also have go-to-market established, and that's really important in agriculture. Agriculture is a relationship-driven business. It's so important that you have boots on the ground and people that a farmer will trust to buy from. And so we sell through their existing retailers that they would typically be buying from in a way that really helps drive adoption. It means that when we have one of our retailers that's selling and one of their best customers loves our product, that retailer is now going to sell to 10 more of their growers, and that has a massive impact on adoption. It means we can really grow really aggressively and rapidly with a pretty limited sales force. So how does the technology work? Now I get to the dog toys. So to clarify, we're not a dog toy company. I did have somebody ask me earlier whether they could purchase these. I can get the supplier for you, but we're not a dog toy company. But what we do is we actually use very, very, very small things that look like this, particles, to help deliver either a chemical or a biological in a way that helps it be more effective on the farm. And I'm going to use an analogy for all of you that you may not be aware of. So the COVID mRNA vaccines actually have a technology similar to this built into them. So if you took the mRNA, if it was just injected into your arm nakedly, your body would break it down before it got into your muscle cells to stimulate the immune response that helps protect you from COVID. So what's happened is a company developed a delivery technology that helps protect that RNA long enough for it to get into your muscle cells and stimulate that immune response. And it's a delivery technology that in a lot of ways is very similar to what we're doing in agriculture. We've developed this technology called allosperse, which are these very, very small polymer particles, and we can either put chemicals inside of these particles or use them to coat the surface of a bacteria to protect them from their environment and control how they actually behave when they're being applied on the farm. And so we're really excited about this. We're game changers and leaders with this type of technology. We're the only company using this type of technology in agriculture in the US, and it's the secret behind everything that we do. But why is this important? Well, growers care about how a product's going to behave when it's in the jug that they buy, so it's sitting on their shelf. Is it going to stay stable? Is it going to break down over time? They care about the performance there. They care about whether or not it can be mixed with other products in their spray tank. They care about how it behaves when it's being sprayed onto a weed or sprayed onto a crop to protect it from disease. They care about how it behaves if they're applying it to control something below the soil surface. And they care about how it behaves if it's being used as a seed coating to protect a seed as it's starting to grow. Well, the nice thing is we can use this allosperse technology to improve the performance of their products in all of these cases. We can make products that are more stable in the jug so that they last longer and the products end up behaving the way that a grower expects. We can use this technology to help products mix with one another so that growers can do multiple things at once, which improves their profitability, their productivity. We can use this technology to help optimize the performance when a product's being applied to a leaf, broadcast across the field. And so it's all about, to what Brendan said earlier, it's all about doing more with less. It's all about improving the productivity and profitability of growers by helping them take these inputs that are critically important to their production operation and make them more effective. This is a massive market. I'll put this down now that I'm done with the show. It's a massive market opportunity. The crop input space today is about a $68 billion market. It's going to about $90 billion in 2025. And you can see the existing chemical side of this market is an enormous opportunity. And that's one of the reasons why we're really excited about helping growers do more with less with existing chemistry. But also, this biological segment is growing incredibly rapidly. And so the fact that we have technology that helps unlock the full potential of their inputs, whether they're synthetic or bio-based, is something that we're incredibly excited about. And this doesn't even include the fact that our technology can also be used for fertilizers and for some of the other crop inputs that growers use in order to help those products be more effective and allow growers to use those in a more effective way. We also have an incredibly robust product pipeline. So this just gives you a sense. We've got 18 products currently in our pipeline across a variety of crops in the US and a variety of different market segments. And all told, those 18 products represent about a $1.4 billion serviceable addressable market in 2028. So we're really excited about the pipeline of products that we've been building in addition to the commercial traction that we have. So we're fully commercial today. I mentioned earlier, did just over $18 million US in revenue in fiscal 2022. We have a full portfolio of products. This is really important because when you go in and sell to a grower, if you have one product that deals with one problem on their farm, it's really difficult for them to pay attention to you. And so having a portfolio of products that deal with multiple issues that growers have is really, really important. And so we have 6 products here on the left that are products that we sell under our own brand. They include some synthetic chemistry that we've made better and more effective, and then also some biological products like the Astronaut product here. And then we also work with other manufacturers in this space where our technology can really help be enabling, right? Similar to a drug delivery company that might work with a pharmaceutical company to help them with post-patent protection and things like that. There's opportunities there, and we have partnerships with a couple of companies that we've announced publicly. As I noted earlier, we do sell through existing traditional distribution in retail. This is a really high leverage way for us to go to market because, as I noted earlier, if we convince a retailer that this is something that they're excited about, they're going to sell it on to 10 of their growers. And so it's a really efficient way for us to build a sales and marketing infrastructure and sell on. And our distribution channel represents about 50% of all crop input sales in the US. Our growers absolutely love our products. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, I mentioned earlier the ROI. So we're typically looking at anywhere between a 3 and a 20x ROI for a grower buying our products, which is obviously awesome. They want to be able to improve their profitability. But in addition, we also make their operation more convenient and easier to run. We help them use these products in a simpler and easier way. And so this is an example of 3 different growers in both sugar beets, potatoes, and corn, and testimonials that we received about how excited they are about our products. And just to give you a sense of scale, in 2022, our products were used on about 2.5 million acres in the US. So we've been really excited about that impact. And because we create such an excellent ROI for our growers also love using our products. And so we do this customer satisfaction survey every year where we ask our growers, do you like the product? How did it behave? We ask them for qualitative feedback. And then we also ask them, do you plan to reuse the product? How did it behave? And would you be willing to recommend our products to your friends and neighbors? And we're incredibly excited by these results. We've been doing this for 4 years. Results continue to be incredibly positive. The fact that 97% of our farmers would recommend these products to their friends and neighbors. I don't know how many of you have touched agriculture, but farmers are typically skeptical, I think is a fair way of putting it. And the fact that we get... Sorry? Ornery is the proper term. We love our customers, but skeptical, right? And there's good reason for that because they only get to run one experiment a year, right? They plant once a year, and if they have a problem, they've lost that entire year. And so they have good reason to be skeptical. But these types of results are, in the ag industry, we think of them as John Deere level results. So we're really incredibly excited about them. We have started to move, one thing that we've started to do over the last couple of years that we're pretty excited about is moving to more of a pull marketing strategy. So historically, a lot of our sales were generated through distribution and through retail. And what we want to be doing is we want to be applying some of the selling tools that other B2B businesses use in other industries. Agriculture is still very much relationship driven and very much kind of an old selling process. It's about who you know and the relationships you already have. And so what we're trying to do is really move to both a digital first as well as something that's driven by traditional MQL, SQL, sales funnel type activities that you would get in a traditional B2B process that doesn't really exist in agriculture today. And we think that can be a pretty differentiating attribute for us. I'll also say we use influencers a lot when we sell. So one of our biggest markets today are sugar beet growers. And sugar beet growers all produce their crop in contract to a sugar beet cooperative. And so what we did was we worked with those cooperatives, got them to test our products. They, again, love them. And so they recommended them onto all of their growers. And so again, it's a very high leverage way for us to grow our business. One thing that's really unique in agriculture is that it is slow. And that's good and bad. So I mentioned earlier, growers only get to try something once a year because they're only growing their crop once a year. And so typically what that means is that a farmer, a grower, it'll take 2 to 3 years once you acquire them as a customer for them to really be applying it on most of their farm. And that's true in general in agriculture. Investments tend to take 2 to 3 years to pay off in order for them to be successful. And so it is a bit of a slower build in some cases. One of the real advantages, though, is that once you've acquired customers and have built out a segment, that's something that you really can defend very effectively. And so between the adoption curve, the fact that our products all require regulatory approval, we basically feel that we have a 4-year head start against anybody else who's trying to come into some of these new ways we're using these products. And that gives us a really defensible moat for us that a traditional tech or software business might not have. We also have an extremely extensive IP portfolio. We have over 100 issued patents. And then I mentioned earlier, 97% of our growers want to recommend their products to their friends and neighbors. 95% of them want to reuse them. So we have very sticky sales. And so it's a very defensible business that we've been building. We have an enormous impact on sustainability. We've actually had 3 projects with a Crown Corporation here in Canada called Sustainable Development Technology Canada that funds green and clean tech innovations for companies like ours. And the aggregate impact you can see here, we're forecasting by 2026, we'll be impacting 14 million gallons of water, 92 million kilos of CO2, which is 62,000 cars annually. We'll be reducing chemical use by about 1,000 tons and keeping pulling a significant amount out of the water as well. So we're really excited about the impacts that we're having and the ability for us to be able to do more with less. And last, Liz referred to the award we received yesterday, which was for innovative science and collaboration with some of our university partnerships. But we've been well recognized, particularly over the last few years. As I mentioned earlier, we were on the Globe and Mail fastest growing companies in Canada list for the last 3 years. We were on the Deloitte Fast 50 list this past year, and then a range of other awards here that we're obviously quite excited about to see the kind of recognition that we're having, both in terms of the commercial success, but as well the sustainability and environmental impacts associated with what we're doing. So I am 27 seconds over. I am happy to take questions.
9 minutes.
Well, I'm just over before the question period, right?
These Alispheres, the dog toy.
Yep. Which are, by the way, we brought some. If anybody has dogs that need a dog toy, they're available out at our booth. You can pick them up on the way out. Sorry.
Right. I'm going to be the first one there.
Excellent.
Is it organic or is it manufactured?
No, it's based on a petroleum-based polymer. We can make them out of bio-based feedstocks, but that's very difficult to do from both a scale and just feedstock availability perspective. So it's on our roadmap, but probably 3 or 4 years before we'll be doing anything with a bio-based feedstock.
Okay, and last, how big is it?
Very small. So it's based on nanotechnology, which just means things that are really, really small. Each of these would be about 1/10,000th the size of a hair on your head. So they're extremely small. And that's one of the really unique there are specific technology reasons why that means that they perform really well. If you think about coating a leaf, if you have stuff that's really, really small, it coats better. If you think about trying to move into the soil down through the pores in the soil, it's easier when it's small. So there's a lot of advantages to understanding what's happening at that scale and by controlling it with this type of delivery system. But very, very small, 1/10,000th the size of a hair on your head. Yep.
Darren, are your products used on all types of crops, like on the big three, of course, corn, soybeans, and wheat? And I'm wondering about forage crops, alfalfa, hay?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we focus our commercial efforts on a subsection of crops because I think you've seen a number of entrepreneurial companies today. One thing I always joke about with entrepreneurs is our eyes are always bigger than our stomachs. So we try to focus our marketing efforts, and our focus crops today are corn, sugar beets, potatoes, cotton, and peanuts. But our products are labeled broadly and can be used more broadly than that. So we have a lot of trial data that's actually coming back right now that's really, really strong on wheat and alfalfa. Soybeans has been the one that we haven't spent as much time on, and there's just some specific product mix reasons for that are a little bit subtle, but it's on our roadmap, and that pipeline that I showed earlier has a number of things on it that would be important for soybeans. One of the real advantages for us is because our technology is very scalable and cost effective, we can go after those big broadacre crops right out of the gate, whereas a lot of companies with a new technology have to start in grapes or strawberries or something like that. And so, this is a public forum, so I don't want to get into the economics, but they're strong enough that we can go after those broadacre crops pretty easily.
I just had a quick question on the IP.
Yep.
On the delivery, you have IP on the delivery, and then you mentioned there was a lot of quite a few other patents. So could you speak a little bit more to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've taken the traditional onion approach where you try to protect your intellectual property in a variety of ways. So we have protection over the allosperse particles themselves, how we make the allosperse particles, integrating them with the kinds of chemical or biological active ingredients I talked about here, and then specific uses that are important from a grower perspective. So I said we have over 100 patents. That includes global patent protection, but it's also, that's across, I think, 14 families. So it's 14 individual inventions protecting different elements of the technology.
And those are all owned by the company?
Yeah, 100% owned by the company.
And I guess, because this is so far, what's your geographical distribution?
We are 100% export driven. which also you will note means that we do not sell in Canada. So we sell into the US today. 100% of our sales are in the US. The reason that we don't sell in Canada is just the regulatory processes here tend to be a little bit slower. And the US, in most companies, the US would be 10 times the size of the Canadian market, so it makes a lot of sense to start here. In ag, it's about 3 times, so it is still a larger opportunity, which when combined with the regulatory timelines just made a lot more sense for us to start there. We have submitted applications to start selling in Canada. We're currently expecting to be able to start doing that within the next 12 months, and happy to have more of an in-depth conversation about that offline.
So I just want to understand, you're being supported by a government entity, but the regulations are slowing you down.
I am happy to talk about that offline.
Speaking of patents,
Yes.
how do you help the mega ag companies with their patents? How does your technology potentially help them with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say, so one question I often get asked is if you're working with a mega ag company and you're reducing the amount of the pesticide that they're using, why would they do that? Why does that make sense to them? Well, in a lot of cases, these companies, when their products are starting to come off patent, they're looking for a competitive advantage for them to be able to continue to market. And so what we do is we give them a differentiated version of that product, right? A 2.0 that they can sell, and that gives them a competitive advantage against generic companies that are coming onto the space. And even if that reduces the amount of pesticide that they need to sell, that dramatically improves their cost position, which is obviously awesome. It allows them to tell the sustainability benefits associated with what they're doing, and there's massive advantages associated with that. Also, we can help them use products in new ways that allow them to use products in new segments that they hadn't previously been able to use them before, which can open up whole new market opportunities.
Quick seniors moment.
While you're pausing, seniors moment as well.
Everyone's just excited about the cocktail hour.
I'm
I can tell.
very excited. Go ahead. Well, it's been a long day, clearly.
Oh no, not yet. Sorry, with the IP,
Yep.
does that extend the life of the IP, the version 2.0?
Yeah, it absolutely could. So if they've got it won't protect the original 1.0, but it'll give them a 2.0 that now they have 20 new years of patent protection on. So for those of you that have ever looked at drug delivery companies in pharmaceuticals, we're a drug delivery company in agriculture. We're more or less following exactly the same playbook.
So you're going to be profitable next year. Why would you do a capital raise?
So we're not going to be profitable next year, to be clear. And the reason that we're not, so the organic business that we've been building is now able to get to profitability next year. But I mentioned earlier, 2 to 3 years for investments in this space to pay off, and the pace that we feel like we can grow at, given the size of the opportunity, we have some significant investments we feel like we need to make that is just going to drive much more rapid growth than we would be able to without making some of those investments. And those include both commercial investments, so more rapid market expansion, additional boots in the ground, additional trials, right? So if we're trying to start selling to a corn grower in Texas with data from Minnesota, that doesn't go very far, trial data, and then the technology and product pipeline is incredibly important because we really want to be building that full service, full portfolio, because that's really what drives grower demand and drives our customers to be excited about working with us as far as a long-term partnership.
Green governments worldwide are mandating a massive cut of the use of fertilizers. I know you don't do fertilizers at present, but you had mentioned that that is a possibility.
Yep.
How might this mega opportunity be something that Vive could take advantage of?
Yeah, so there's a couple of places where that can play out. First of all, governments are also mandating reductions in overall chemical use, and so there's opportunities in places like Europe for products that can be a more sustainable alternative to some things that are already on the market. But on fertilizers specifically, I mentioned our ability to unlock the full potential of some of these bio-based products, and a lot of what's going on with bio-based products are bacteria that can help pull nitrogen from the air and deliver it right to the roots of a plant, or to help more phosphorus be available from the soil. And those bio-based products, the problem that they have is keeping those bugs alive long enough for them to be effective on the farm. And so we can really unlock that. We can also improve the delivery of things like micronutrients and help make those more effective as well. The one thing we don't have any plans to do at the moment is work in traditional like NPK and incredible volume fertilizer, just because while we're quite cost effective, that's a very different ballgame that would be challenging for us to play in at this time.